Hey guys, it's me, Allie. And if you're wondering why I'm out here holding a plaster face with soaking wet hair, it's because today Sierra and Sara and I got together and did face castings. And Sara taught Sierra and I how to cast faces. I just got out of the shower because it's a messy process. And I got goop. I had goop all in my hair and my eyebrows were very greasy. And so anyway, I'm all cleaned up now. And I just wanted to film the intro to this video. So here's my face. Looks just like me, because it is me. And today we're going to cover the process, what we did, how we failed, what we learned, and you too can understand a little bit more about how to cast your own face if you want to create special effects for makeup or anything that you need that would be tailored to your face. And it doesn't have to just be your face. You can cast your hand. You can cast inanimate objects. You can cast all kinds of stuff with this technique. So stay tuned and you'll learn something. First thing you need to know, prep everything. Be organized. So Sara is laying out all of the bandages, the plaster bandages. When she's got the bandages laid out, the plaster is super susceptible to moisture. So she's going to place them back in their original bag to keep them protected. After we've got all the bandages laid out, we unroll the cotton balls, which just means taking the cotton balls, unrolling them till they're flat and fluffy, which will help the alginate and the plaster of Paris bandages to bond with each other. Then we need a big bucket because you don't want this stuff going down your sink. And that's how we wash our hands. Cue up the feisty model because she's getting ready. And now we are preparing smaller buckets, and these are to make the alginate, to make the plaster of Paris, and all of everything. So we're all prepped up. As you can see, now Sara's going to mix the alginate, and she's going to do about a 50-50 mix. Now the water temperature is cool. You want it about 90 degrees because the colder the water is, the more working time you have. So you don't want the water too cold, you don't want the water too warm. If the water is too warm, it goes to oatmeal really fast, you lose your working time. So you need to work fast. So here we are prepping the model with the release cream, which is, I believe, Aquaphor, but you can use Vaseline, you can use whatever it is you need so that the stuff doesn't stick to her hair, to her eyes, or anywhere you don't want it to stick, like eyelashes. Mixing the alginate and water has to be done at the last minute because you only have 5 total minutes of working time if you get it right. So we are adding water, mixing with her hand. She's mixing very quickly. And once she has it at the right consistency, we will apply it to Sierra's face. We will apply it quickly. We will avoid the nose holes. As you can see, we're now applying the alginate to Sierra's face. Quick confession. There was a learning curve here. The first time, it went to oatmeal too fast. The second time, I tried helping, went to oatmeal too fast. The third time was a charm, and we managed to get the alginate onto her face before everything's set and had it all nice and thick and goopy. And you're gonna see, this goes over her eyes, it goes over her mouth, and we're very careful around the nose holes because that's kind of keeping her alive. Once we had a good setting of the alginate, we applied the cotton balls onto the surface of the alginate to prepare it for the plaster bandages. Okay, now it's time to apply the plaster bandages over the cotton and over the alginate. And Sara, as you may remember, has already cut the bandages into the sizes and shapes she needs, and she actually had it laid on the table in a pattern that was similar to how she's planning to put it onto Sierra's face. So she applied the bandages all over her face, saving the bridge of her nose for the very last little bit. next part is to wait about 10 minutes for the plaster to set. I'm going to tell you, for me, this was the worst because I was just like tired of this, and I'm sure Sierra's not having fun under that mask right now. This is also a fun time to take some selfies with your friends while you wait to let the plaster dry. The plaster may get a little bit warm, but that's why we've got the alginate underneath, so it's protecting her skin. So that's the next step, and once the mask is firm, we will be able to unmask her.
Okay, so what we're gonna do, take in a big deep breath with your nose and try to blow out through your mouth, wiggle your face, and try to loosen it.
Sara is extremely gentle in the removal of the mask, and you do not want to rush this portion. It's something that you really, at this point, she wants that thing off. We did a mask for myself right afterwards, but take your time and you will have a successful casting because of it. And yes, your hair does get messed up. However, we did wind up with a pretty cool face casting. The next step is to fill the nose holes with water-based clay and then seal it with a plaster bandage. So what Sara and Sierra are doing is, first they're pushing a little bit of clay into the nose holes, and Sara had some pre-cut bandages, so once they have the clay in place, they place the bandages on top of the clay, and now we'll be able to fill the mold with plaster. So now we have our mold and we are ready for the casting. So we've got our art plaster, we've got some water, and Sara is going to sift, not dump it in, but she's kind of sifting with her fingers the plaster into the water, and she's looking for the water to be fully saturated. There should be no wet spots on the surface of the water, and you really know it's done because you've got this dry lake effect with the cracking. Once you've achieved the dry lake effect, you take your hand, you stick it in the water, and you mix it. And when you use this method, you will not get clumps. You're going to get a nice, smooth plaster of Paris. Once Sara has the plaster into a nice silky consistency, she starts off by getting to the nose and the eyes and the lips area, because those are the detail areas, and she makes sure she gets good solid coverage there. And you do this slowly in the beginning because you don't want to create air bubbles. Once you have a good coverage started, then you can take a measuring cup and complete filling it in, and you want to make sure that while you're filling, you keep it as level as possible. So now that the mask is full, it's time to let it sit for a couple of hours and go out to lunch.
Come out.
Which mask is that?
This is mine.
It's like pulling the mask away from the mold.
Cutting board so I could slam it on there a bunch of times.
Oh, is that not gonna crack it?
Plaster inside.
She's brave.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Wow!
Oh, she's beautiful.
I'm
What?
so fuzzy!
She's so fuzzy! I didn't expect the fuzzy.
Because of cotton.
Right, I know the cotton, but I just didn't think.
She's a whoopee.
I know.
Oh, because we have to take off the cotton.
Usually
that
it comes
part.
off with, but we weren't great with the cotton. This usually sticks to that better.
Right. Cool. Look at my little nose. It's so big with intent.
Here, let me get a better
Wow.
photographic angle. There we go. There we go.
That's
There
so
she is.
cool.
Yeah, so you've got a couple of spots
That
where
is so
it
much
wasn't like-
detail.
Yeah, so if you like take a tweezer or something like that, before it gets too hard, it'll come off a little bit easier and
lips
softer.
are-
Oh.
Yeah.
But you can only do this now.
Well, you can do it when it's drier, but it is much easier now.
Oh, wow.
See how easy that is?
It's easier now because it's still kind of...
Right. That's crazy.
There we have it. And as you can see, we now have a beautiful mask of Sierra's face, and she can use it for creating special effects makeup. After Sierra, we made a mask for me, and then Sara showed us the mask that she made for herself in the past. Thank you for watching the face casting episode. I hope you've learned a lot. I'm going to be linking the supplies description in the comments. I'll also be linking Sara Better Off Red's YouTube channel and some other helpful information. Making this face cast was a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of work. You definitely want to follow the instructions carefully. You could waste a lot of money, or you could get injured if you don't do it right. So follow the instructions. Make sure those nose holes are nice and clear all the time. Make sure you've got plenty of people on duty. Personally, I wouldn't want to do this without 2 people, 1 assistant, 1 getting the face mask, and 1 doing the work. And good luck and happy creating. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Sierra's not here to tell me it doesn't work. Thank you. Here's the peanut. All right, go away.